Hey, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. Actually, I wanted to read to you as an introduction the email that I first got from this guy because that is kind of interesting, and it also tells his scouting history, which is a lot of what I try to get at when I do these unboxings. Hi Jason, recently came across your website, checking to see if you'd like to buy part of my scouting memorabilia collection. I used to be a collector, but now that my sons are grown and not interested in my stuff, I've decided to keep the items that are personally significant to me and look for another home for the remainder. Hey, that's me, I'm glad he found me. As a background, I was active in scouting from 1968 until 1982, mainly in the old Pennswood Council of Western Pennsylvania. I'm an Eagle Scout, OA Vigil member, former Lodge Chief, also worked at Pennswood's Council summer camps from 74 to 78, and as a program director for the Transatlantic Council's Mayflower District UK summer camps in 1979-1980. I acquired most of the extra patches and other items that I no longer want at the 1973 National Jamboree at Camp Halliburton in 1974 in Ontario, and also in the UK, and then also some other things here as well. So that's great. He sent me pictures of the items in the collection, and then we got together and made a deal for me to purchase these items. So kind of a neat story there to kind of get the whole background in his time. Also to see that he was someone who worked on camp staff, which I connect to because in the summer times, I work at a scout camp myself. I'm the camp director at Camp Barstow, which is Columbia, South Carolina's camp, the Indian Waters Council. It's located on Lake Murray, beautiful 50,000 acre lake on a big hydroelectric dam there. And we have a lot of fun. So I've been doing that for this will be my 5th year coming up that I've served as the camp director. So. All right, let's see what we got. Oh man, all kinds of good stuff, including a nice little letter for me. So again, sometimes with the people, you know, it's sort of this connection you make with them that they've held on to this stuff for so long and now they're sort of handing it off to you. So he's written me a letter here. Yeah, okay. He collected most of this stuff 40 to 50 years ago, and his recollection may be a little foggy of what all's in here. So I'll keep that letter to the side, and again, just let you see what we've got. Now, right off the top, there is a brownie cap. I mean, this is literally like, I mean, obviously it's meant for a little, you know, elementary school age girl, but it is super duper tiny. Couple of coffee mugs, let's see if they survived. Not all the coffee mugs actually survived. Looks like this one did. This is an OA Conclave one from 1971. That survived. And yeah, here's Lodge from Pennsylvania, Langdon Dowie. That one survived as well. So good packing there. I guess it turns out patches are good packing for things that are fragile. So let me set all this stuff to the side here. And again, we'll let you try to see all this, but just want to get it out of the box as well. Okay, making some nice little stacks over here. All right, and then there are some books in the bottom, so I can show you guys that real quick. Advancement in the Troop. A lot of these times I'll get these books, and it's hard to kind of recycle these because the merit badge requirements are not the same, and generally speaking, there are a lot of people who collect those. But sometimes in these books, there might be something that's kind of interesting that a scout would enjoy getting. So I definitely will try to see if these are ones that I can kind of get recycled. This is definitely one from overseas, right? So that's not our scouting magazine, that's probably scouting over in the UK, which he mentioned in his letter. And then here is a in the bag 1973 Jamboree shirt, a size 16. Wonder how many scouts that would fit. So here's some nice neckerchiefs and a couple of OA patches right off the top. So let me throw this under the camera there. That's a Lodge 103 Monacan. That's a large jacket patch, a triangle. And then here's a beautiful one, Lodge 317 from the Mason-Dixon Council, that beautiful rattlesnake design they have. And then here's a Delmont from Pennsylvania where he was. Delmont was pretty prolific, issued a lot of patches, so I've seen quite a few of those. But in general, Pennsylvania is a state that is well collected, and so a lot of this stuff I'm sure I can find a new home for. Camp Squanto, for example, this is kind of unusual, something he could have traded for. It says Friendship Jamboree, 1975, Okinawa. And so in Japan, obviously you have American Boy Scouts that are there, connected to the military, connected to some sort of diplomatic mission. And so that's going on there. Heart Scout Reservation, Valley Forge, Rodney, these would have been camps he probably would have traded for. Here's a Daniel Webster, which that's up in New Hampshire. And then this is kind of neat, throw this up there. Valley Forge, this is a Philmont contingent neckerchief. I've been doing a lot of unboxings the last few weeks, and I've seen a lot of Philmont contingent neckerchiefs. Seems like that was a pretty popular thing to do, to make your own specific neckerchief for your trip, which, you know, is a big highlight of your scouting career, so I can see why people would do that. Tuckahoe here, Treasure Island Camp, Resica Falls Scout Reservation, Delmont Scout Reservation. So again, a lot of trading happening here. Maine, this is that high adventure base up in Maine. And then here's one that jumps out just because it is so much older than the rest of this. This is the Rayon 1950 Jamboree neckerchief. All right, a couple more books. Put those to the side, and we'll see if we have any patches of interest. And there's quite a few piles here, so that's a good thing. I'll get all this scooted over so you guys can see what we got. So a lot of times when you see a big wad of patches like this and you see a bunch of rounds, probably, you know, the majority of this little group of rounds, fistful if you will, are going to be event patches. And so, you know, Klondike Derbies and Camporees and Expos and Scoutaromas and all that. And every council had those. And so I'll just quickly flip through these real fast to see if there's anything that jumps out. Actually, some in camp patches as well came in this size. So I'll see if there's anything kind of interesting to lay under the camera. A lot of event patches here. I'm not seeing any camp patches. Here's a couple of OA. There's a Lodge 5, which is from Pennsylvania, and then here's a 79 NOAC patch. So somebody went to the National OA Conference. And then I mentioned Lodge 43 Delmont earlier, that they're pretty prolific. A lot of their stuff is floating around. There's a couple of patches from there. And then here's one from Erie's Lodge 46. This one is a Chocody Lodge, which is down in Florida. But again, if you went trading for it, maybe that would be something. And then he mentioned Lodge 275. That's the lodge he was a lodge chief of. And there's a patch from Lodge 275. So again, more event patches here. And, you know, as the guy said, he kept the things that were really meant something special to him. And then the things that he was selling me were maybe the things that he was more interested in parting with. So some camp patches here. I'll throw those up just because they're a little more interesting. Go through this next pile of rounds and see if there's anything that jumps out. You know, Resica Falls, I've seen that patch a bunch. Again, Camp Sewell, that's not from around here. Hey, my father went to that. I think my brother and my father went to that camporee PD Area Council held at Camp Coker. This is a beautiful patch here from Transatlantic Council. Again, an event patch, but I really like the design. And let's see if there's anything else in these rounds that kind of jumps out. Not so much. This leather here, looks like a homemade thing, a Jamboree patch. Okay, this is pretty cool. Let me throw this up there. So again, I mentioned earlier, this idea of Philmont contingent patches. Here's a Philmont contingent patch from 1966. Kind of a nice looking design, and then this is kind of good looking as well. A lot of the New York councils seem like they made jacket patches for their camps, and so that's a beautiful example of this. Let me throw this back up there. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Now, I could be totally wrong about this, and if I am, you can put it in the notes, in the comments. So it's possible that this Middlesex Philmont contingent patch, I could be wrong about this, guys. It's possible that might be considered a shoulder patch. And I'll have to check the listings if it's actually listed in we have a reference book called the Council Shoulder Insignia Guide. And I'll have to see if that is listed as a shoulder patch in there, even though it says Philmont and has a year on it. I'll have to check, because if my memory serves me right, and I'm just now kind of getting into collecting council shoulder patches, 20 years too late, I know, I should have been collecting them all along, but I just have this memory that might be the only shoulder patch that the Middlesex Council issued, and therefore that one might actually be kind of sought after. I could be completely wrong, but you know, I don't have a Rain Man memory of all this stuff, but I think there's a chance that might be one that I can put in my collection. So when I talk about shoulder patches, here's kind of what I'm talking about. Again, shoulder patches, these would be your council identification that would go on your sleeve. These in particular we call red and white strips, and so you can kind of see here the council name and sometimes the state locations on there as well. So whoosh, that's pretty much the whole collection. Again, if I could be totally wrong about this guy right here, but I know where my reference book is. I'll go look at it after I turn the video off. And if I'm completely wrong, please post it as a comment. But I think I might be onto something with this one. I'll have to look and see. If it is the Middlesex Council issue that I think, then I can go in my collection. That's great. So again, Jason Spengler, the SanteeSwapper. You can see why I enjoy unboxing these collections. You know, I got the email from the guy with his personal story. He and I, although of different generations, I'm probably 20 years behind him in terms of my scouting. We both served on camp staff. We both were lodge chiefs. We both, you know, traveled and did a lot of cool stuff in scouting. I went to the UK, spent a summer on camp staff over there. Sounds like he went to the UK and did some stuff as well. So just a neat sort of connection there as well. And so when he was ready to kind of part with some of his stuff, I'm glad that he found me and reached out. So I'll be really appreciative of that. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. You can find more videos, find my podcast, my newsletter, all that good stuff that I've got going on in this hobby. Jason Spengler, the SanteeSwapper. Thanks for watching.